One of the most infuriating parts of doing this job is dealing with other women who just will not accept their role given by God, ultimately. Especially women who claim to be following the Torah. And I say claim to be following the Torah. Just because someone says to follow the Torah or they say that they keep the Ten Commandments doesn't mean they're actually keeping the Ten Commandments. And the more God teaches you in prophecy, when you actually do obey, you can catch these people out by the things that they say and the things that they do. So women that claim that they can rebuke men and they have authority over men because, I know to keep the Torah, so I can command other men to keep the Torah. You're actually leaving off a pretty big part of the Torah. For example, in Deuteronomy 22, Paul brings light to it in 1 Corinthians 11. And he basically tells you that what it means for a woman to wear that which pertains unto a man is her coveting his authority and trying to be his head covering. The head of the woman is the man. You know how women rebuke men? By asking them questions that they can't answer. Ask them hard questions. Obey your role as a woman. The only reason we actually care about this is because of the punishment coming to the women. Can you read Isaiah 3 and 13 and tell me who you think that's talking about? O my people, they which lead thee, cause thee to error. And who's leading them? Thy women rule over thee, and your children are your oppressors. You've got things backwards. The man is the head of the woman. And you know what? Women especially have such a hard time hearing from true men of God because they just despise authority, because they're riddled with Jezebel. They're not keeping the Torah. Be not deceived. They are not keeping the Torah. They covet the authority God gave man. They just will not accept their God-given role. They're trying to wear that which pertains unto a man. And ironically, the people in the Torah movement are the ones that still touch Sinai and go to sacrificial law, the law that we're no longer under and made righteous by. So they'll think, I can't wear trousers. So they're walking around in their skirts and their head coverings, thinking they're all righteous and holier than thou. But they're rebuking men. The letter kills. You haven't got a clue what it even means. It's ridiculous and it's infuriating because the prophecies against these women is that their children are going to be dashed to pieces because they wouldn't listen to what God even ordained for them. It's for their benefit, but they don't believe that because they can't relinquish control because they're riddled with Jezebel. They won't get rid of covetousness. They're not keeping the Holy Covenant. Don't care how many times you want to say, I keep the whole Torah. You're worse than the Christians. You're absolutely wicked. Yah tells you to remember something. You best start remembering it. In Deuteronomy, when he tells you, remember the sin of Miriam. What was the sin of Miriam? She went up against Moses. Her and Aaron did. But who was more severely punished? Miriam. She was kicked out of the camp and given leprosy. Why do you think that is? Because it was more of a shame for her to have done what she did than even Aaron. Learn your role as a woman. Stop coveting. Get rid of Jezebel, or your children are going to be dashed to pieces. This is a big prophecy to Mystery Babylon. And then you want to get pissed off at me for trying to save you and your children. When if you actually started to obey God's commandments for women, you would feel that true liberty. I can't explain it. I know what it's like to be a Jezebel and not be able to relinquish that control. But you're in bondage. It's the blind leading the blind. You go into the letter of the law. You can't even understand what the law's even saying. Paul brings light to it, and then you still want to point the finger at Paul and say, that's not what he means. Or some of you in the Torah movement deny Paul full stop because you can't stop coveting the authority God gave men. Buckle up.